Let's start this part of the show with a look at how crafting is going to change everything from resource gathering, refining, and even combat when it comes online in the next few months.
The first version of crafting is going to be quite small in scale. We're going to use it as a kind of a concentrated effort to allow the players to experience the initial UI, the flow of gathering materials of different quality, and using those to craft items which are better than what they have currently in the game.
The first version is going to be primarily FPS items that you can craft, weapons and armor. For Star Citizen, crafting is our primary progression mechanic. Star Citizen isn't your standard MMO. We don't have levels. We have ships, we have gear, we have things that you create in the world, you perfect, you research, you improve. And those items, those ships, those vehicles, the armor and weapons, that's how you progress in Star Citizen. Crafting isn't just a progression mechanic for creating new items. It's also a fundamental change to how we handle resources in the game. The materials that you collect, how you refine them, quality matters.
Crafting the weapons, you'll be able to have some quality materials to influence the item stats on those weapons.
It'll be somewhat random, potentially weighted on the location of the material. Some will have a higher chance of higher quality. And once you take those materials to your crafting bench, the fabricator, you can use them to craft, and the different attributes will be increased based on the quality of the materials you use. It's not just iron ore anymore, it's iron ore of the quality that you know will get you the stats for the item that you desire. And it's not just mining, it's essentially every resource we can get our hands on.
To support this, we also need major changes to inventory so that all of these new resources that you're collecting, you can see what you have, you can order it better, you can understand what you have in your inventory.
We won't have the new refining crafting system yet. We'll be using the existing ones. Those will pass the quality through into the refined materials, which you can then take to your crafting machine and start making your personal items. Once you have your blueprint and your quality materials that you've refined, then you can put them together on the item fabricator. This will be pretty much what we showed in last year's CitizenCon, with the UI letting you assign your quality resources to different aspects of the item. Once you're happy with what you see on the preview, you'll be able to click to craft, and it'll get queued up, and your result will be produced sometime later. You'll be able to get the new crafting machine from shops in most landing zones. You'll be able to bring it up on your freight elevator and use it in your personal hangar, or tractor beam it around and stick it on a ship if you want to use it from there.
There'll be a small amount of blueprints you get credited to your account just to test and mess around, but the vast majority of them will be earned through missions, and then you can use that blueprint to craft the item that it is that you've got the blueprint for. So it should be a good reason to go and test all the different various missions in the game.
The advantage of crafting your own items is that they'll be better than anything that you could buy from shops. You'll be able to increase and improve item stats that are relevant to your gameplay. Maybe your gun will shoot faster, maybe it'll do some more damage, or your armor will have greater resistances against environmental effects or incoming fire. You might be wondering, what about the upgrade and research? That will be coming in a subsequent release. We're happy with this initial scope for crafting.
It's going to be so valuable for us as devs to kind of get the metrics in, get the feedback in, because then we can make the changes that, you know, they only become obvious, so to speak, when you have kind of mass amounts of data and mass amounts of users using it. So I'm very excited to get it out in the wild.
It's our intention to get crafting out on tech preview by the end of the year and get the testing we need so we can release it when it's ready.
So that's one way you'll be crafting your own experiences in the Star Citizen universe. But what about us? Where do we get to hone in and craft a bespoke experience here and there, specifically tailored to individual or small group play? Well, that's where instancing comes in. And I'm going to let Benji tell you a little bit more.
We're bringing instancing to Star Citizen in 2026. Why are we doing it, and how will it work? So if you've played any content in 2025 in Star Citizen, you know that most of these areas were in actual PvP zones where other players could interfere. Instancing is a means to create an environment where designers can create tailored content that's tuned to a specific group size, but it is also protected from outside interference. It's not to say that we don't love PvP. I'm a PvP guy. PvP me, bro. But like most MMOs, a good balance between a dangerous overworld and a protected instances is needed. Right now, we don't have this ability, and this is something we really need in order to give you a sense of progression that is tailored and balanced to a tunable amount of groups, so the difficulty matches the group size. There's a beginning and an end. It doesn't mean that that doesn't fit in our overworld strategy, meaning getting to the instance is dangerous, exiting the instance is dangerous, or can be interfered with others. But at least when you're playing the content, we can actually make something that's curated for one experience. So before anybody says this is only a PvE thing, this technology can also be applied to unlock curated PvP experiences that are as seamless as the PvE ones. So it's not about one thing or the other. It's really about unlocking developers' ability to create curated content. So that said, how will it work? Instancing is really an evolution over static to dynamic meshing. We want your instances to be as seamless as your instance hangars, meaning that when you take an elevator, you exit the elevator, you're inside the instance. A gateway opens, you cross that gateway, you're now into your instances. Could be also a quantum jump into an instance that you don't even see. The transition is just like a dynamic mesh transition. And so throughout the universe, we will be able to add these areas that are open or closed instances that allow you to join in either with a party and have a reserved instance for your party, or join an open instances that has a number of slots. And so some of those areas will be completely instanced on different servers. This allows us to leverage the compute power of the entire mesh. The closed ones will be really to drive one piece of content. You enter and exit seamlessly, just like we do with your instance hangars currently. Let's go and find out what one of our first instances will be.
Siege of Orison was an event we did previously, which created a gameplay scenario where the player had to run through and progress through contested islands of Orison. This was a high-paced, high-intensity event, but it struggled a little bit from its technical execution. But now with the introduction of instancing, it gives us an opportunity to evolve it and modify it and make it better for you and a small group to work through that activity.
It is an event that I had the honor of pretty much solely designing and building all of the logic and having the stress of trying to get it working.
Agent Dooley from the CDF puts the call out for volunteers because basically the Nine Tails have taken over sort of a cluster of floating platforms in Orison.
And you are there to kill these sort of lieutenants of this terrorist organization and take back control. So in our current thinking, Siege of Orison is designed for about a 15 to 20 people fire team. So you, your friends, or your org will go in, you'll all have sort of dedicated roles. Some of you might be the tank who brings in the heavy weapons and sort of pulls the fire. Some of you might sit at the back and be the sniper and pick people off who are a bit further to make the advance easier. Some of you will be the medic who sole job is going to be revive and look after the rest of your team and the health of them. And some of you will be the people who push for the objectives to try and get sort of most of the mission done. The event was designed for about 15 to 30 people, but when we released it, we fixed the problem with 2 DGSs on one server that was fighting for resources. And with that, we also upped the player count to 100. So when it first debuted, it was already too full for what it was designed for.
It was a massive operation at the time. I think that bringing it back and giving it a refresher will be a fantastic addition back into the PU.
So imagine if Siege was an instance that you could go in and play solo, or if it was a public event that you could go with your friends, or you could join up with random players on the server. There's lots of ways that we want to take a look at Siege, how we can make it a more approachable piece of content.
I'm excited, to say the least, to bring back Siege of Orison to Star Citizen and to sort of have it be one of the first tests that we have for instancing and really get it back to sort of a core experience point where it should be. So while the next season is quite heavily focused on Nyx, I'm also very happy that we're not really ignoring our other two systems of Standard and Pyro, and we're going back there and we're sort of improving and expanding on the player's life in those two systems as well.
Yes, and while things like Genesis, interstellar hauling, crafting, Siege of Orison, and more will reveal next year, we'll continue to bring life into the existing universe outside of Nyx. There's still one more exciting use for instancing we're building right now. It's an earlier look than normal, and some of it is still in white box, but we're excited to share the first look at a major content release of 2026, and what it means for progression-based gameplay. As an evolution of our Building Interior initiative, you won't discover it by accident, because when it's complete, it will be found deep within the heart of Levki itself. This is the Municipal Works. So inside the facility, you'll find huge vaporization chambers, old processing plants, industrial tunnels, and eventually into the old turbines, which are still pumping heat into the old rock.
So this is the true history of Levki. This is a place where you won't see in Lorville, you won't see in I-18 or the other landing zone. It's the pure basis of Levki. You will have, of course, metal and tunnels and more structural plays, but you will also see a lot of rock and cave. So it's not a place you go to take vacation. It's really a place you go to fix stuff.
Not everybody has what it takes to come down there and do the job that needs to be done.
All of your sewage systems have stopped working. Everything's going to quite literally. And so the player is tasked with their group, most likely, to go into there, take out the outlaws and get the facility working again.
So let me get this straight. This is literally a mission to fix the toilets of Levki.
It's not just the toilets. You're also trying to turn on the air. Air is a bit more important. It still works in Levki, but they have like maybe polluted air because it's not being cleared properly. It's not just for the toilet.
Poop mission.
It's also a little bit more exciting than just going into like some vents. It's like a 3-layered system where there's 3 chapters.
This will be mission-driven and repeatable. Everything from mining to salvage to combat to investigation, a variety of roles. Narratively, it's a real sandbox. Every progression you do will unlock a new area that will link back to previous areas, complexifying the play space.
We've been wanting to have more gameplay around landing zones for a long time. Now that we have instancing tech coming online, that allows us to do something that provides really cool gameplay close to a landing zone.
With the missions, that's what will create different overlays or change the spaces or change the progression, but it'll be the instancing which will enable us to create tailored content to you and your group. So you're going to be able to play a part of it, make your progress, and then log off. And then the next time you come online, you'll be able to pick up where you left off.
It's going to allow players to return back to it at different states depending on how much you've progressed and be able to keep it going until you've reached sort of the end of the whole 3 chapters.
Where you're not going to have other people getting in your way. It's you, your team, your party.
It's a way of giving players content where they know exactly where they're at and they can keep going back to it and improving sort of their own progress and ability to jump through them in faster and faster times as well.
So that's a look at how we'll be allowing players and developers alike to create more crafted experiences within the greater sandbox of the persistent universe. Okay, is that it for me at this point, Jared?
Almost. Throw it back to me, and I've got one more for you after this.
Back to you, Jared.